Welcome to the Workplace Health and Safety briefing for working with Hebel and Talc stone. It is your responsibility to act safely and in accordance with the directives which follow. These safety directives apply equally to Talc stone and Hebel, which you can see in their original and finished state on the desk. The first thing you need to do is always wear a mask when sculpting stone, as the dust created is harmful if it gets into your lungs. Masks are of no use on the top of your head. They must always cover your mouth and nose. Now, some of you may be asking why there is a picture of your maths teacher on this card. But it's not actually. It is the universal symbol of danger. Dust can not only get in your lungs, but it can get in your eyes if it is moved unnecessarily, so leave dust where it falls. Talc stone is a relatively soft stone and it's usually quarried in South Australia or the Northern Territory. It will fracture easily if it is dropped or unnecessary pressure is put on one of its fault lines. Now, there are a range of hand tools used in the sculpting process. You need to learn to use each safely and effectively. Ask if in doubt. Now, the first tool we're going to use is one that you won't actually be using. Teachers are the trained and skilled experts in the use of power tools. Students will be asked to define where their negative space is going to be drilled, and that will need to be done in the first two lessons. The second tool that you will be using is the hacksaw. It has sharp edges, so always cut away from your fingers. This tool is used to make big changes in the shape, so be selective about its use and use in a standing position. Ask for help if you need it. Now, this is a rasp. Most changes to the shape will be made with this tool. It has sharp teeth which can damage the skin around your knuckles. So always work the rasp away from your fingers. Use it by running it across the surface with some pressure in this manner. Do not use it as a tomahawk. If it is used incorrectly, not only could the tool break, but the stone could break and a student could end up with fragments of this stone in their eyes. Certainly something we don't want to happen. The next tool you're most likely to use is a riff. This is really a small rasp and it's used for accessing difficult spots. Most usually around the negative space. So the different shape heads allow you to get into that space and work it effectively. There are different shaped riffs for different angles. Away you go. The next tools you are most likely to use are files. Both the flat and the rat tail files will remove the big gouges that are left by the rasp or the riff. Keep the files unclogged and effective by brushing with a wire brush to remove the build-up of dust. Sandpapers. To get a smooth, shiny surface on the sculpture, and this is part of the assessment criteria, the sculpture needs to be worked with sandpapers. They are numbered 1 to 5 and must be used in that order for about 20 minutes each. The number 1 sandpaper is coarse. This is about 60 grit and it's used dry. It'll remove the facets on the surface left by the rasps and the files and make small changes to the shape. Use this for about 20 minutes. The number 2 sandpaper, a medium grit, is about 120 and use this dry as well. It will not change the shape of the stone, but it will take out all the cuts made by the coarse sandpaper. In the case of Hebel, this sandpaper is the final step. Number 3 sandpaper is the 400 grit wet and dry. This is used with water, which will be used to make a paste on the surface of the stone. Work the whole stone for about 30 minutes, then let it dry to see if the cuts have been taken out from the previous sandpaper. This is the number 4 sandpaper, an 800 grit wet and dry. Again, let dry after working for 30 minutes, and at this stage, no scratches should remain. And here's your final sandpaper, number 5. This is a 1200 grit wet and dry. Use this for at least 30 minutes, and if it's done properly, the surface should have a soft luster when it's dry. Not quite a shine, but a little reflection on the surface. This soft shine indicates the stone is ready to polish. Now, the next stage is polishing. To polish, we use Brasso. It is a poison. Do not drink it, do not eat it. That is, no thumb sucking, no nose picking, no eye gouging until hands are properly washed after finishing. Rinse affected areas with water if you get it on you. As I say, the final stage in this process is polishing the stone. To do this, dampen a small area of cloth with Brasso. Apply that damp cloth to a small area on the stone. Let it dry. It will go white and powdery after 2 or 3 minutes. Then use a clean cloth to remove the powder with a vigorous action. You should get a highly reflective surface after about 30 seconds. You may repeat this process to get a more effective result. Well, there you have it, gentlemen. An outline of the work practices, the tools, how to manage the dust and the polish. remember it is your responsibility to work safely and to look out for the safety of others around you. That's all for now.